Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumper from MS Dynamics World. Really pleased to be able to help host this session. It's the latest of our Portals community calls, and it's a really great one. We have two folks from Microsoft here to give us a nice update on Power Pages and the future of the Portals solution. Really looking forward to that. And as always, we're joined by our host, our moderator, Nicholas Hayduk, who is going to take things from here. Just a couple notes as we begin. We do welcome your questions. Look for the questions block in the webcast interface and enter them at any time. Nick always does a great job keeping an eye on those. We're also recording today's event, so we will be following up after this with the recording. I think that's it for me. I'm going to hand things over to you, Nick, to take us forward.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, welcome everyone. Really excited to have the call today, to be able to talk about all the exciting news that we learned a couple weeks ago at Microsoft Build about the new name for the product that we all know and love, and kind of what the future holds. So really excited to have Donovan and Nikita with us today to so that they can kind of share with us what they know and what we can look forward to. So I'll kind of quickly just get through the regular stuff here, and then we're going to dive right into having Nikita and Donovan do their thing. So just quick intro. If this is your first call, maybe the whole announcement of Power Pages would piqued your interest, and so you've decided to join us today, which is great. My name is Nicholas Hayduk, President and Software Engineer with Engineered Code Consulting, based here in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, which, for those of you who don't know, is the kind of the home of Power Pages. It's where ADX Studio, which was the company that originally built the portals and it was acquired by Microsoft 7 or 8 years ago now. That's where the head office was. That's where I started my career, and so that's kind of my background, is having worked with this product since about 2009 now. So please, if you haven't already, connect with me on LinkedIn or follow Twitter. We got the blog, we got the YouTube channel, we got the podcast, a bunch of different ways to kind of keep in touch with me and kind of learn all about the portals and the Power Pages stuff that we're working on and sharing. So be happy to connect with you on any of those social platforms. As always, just want to give a shout out and a thanks to Jason and the entire MS Dynamics World team for supporting us, helping us with the hosting of this, helping moderate the questions. I think maybe, Jason, you gave me too much credit as to paying attention to the questions. I know you're really good at doing that. So sometimes I kind of get in tunnel vision while I'm doing my presentations, and there's questions there. So Jason's great at that. Helping us get the word out and just doing a great job of facilitating these monthly calls. So really appreciate the partnership that we've had over the last 2.5 years now. I think we've been doing these. So really thankful to be working with Jason and the MS Dynamics World team. So typically we do kind of a news section, but I think probably what most people are here for is the news, and that's kind of our main topic. So really happy to have Nikita Polikov and Donovan Good from the Portals Cat team. Although I don't know if you guys have been renamed yet. I'm assuming at some point you'll become the Pages Cat team, and I will let them do kind of their own introduction. But really happy to have them. They are a great part of the Microsoft engineering team that really helps really helps working with customers to make the product the best it can be. So really happy to have them with us today. So that's what we're going to be kind of diving into right away. And then we will talk about the next Portals community call, which we've already got our speaker. We're going to have another guest speaker next month as well. So great to be able to announce that as well. And then if there's time, we'll obviously answer any questions you have, whether they're about today's topic or anything else, kind of Power Portals, Power Pages, anything like that. So yeah, diving right into it. We've got our roadmap with the Portals Cat. So Nikita and Donovan, if you want to jump off mute, we'll kind of hand it off to you, and we'll let you do your thing.
So it looks like you're, Donovan and Nikita, you're both muted still. Nick, I hope we haven't lost them. I'm not seeing anything in the chat indicating an issue. Nick, are you there?
I'm here, yep. I also don't see anything. Yeah, they both say so. All right, well, I guess maybe kind of while they're while we're waiting for them to deal with their technical issues, we will I guess I'll just kind of talk a little bit about kind of my reactions to what's kind of occurred over the last couple weeks. And you know the big thing, and it's, you know, we're going through the same thing we went through the last time the product was renamed, whether that was from Dynamics 365 portals to Power Apps portals, and now we're going from Power Apps portals to pages. The big question I have is, well, which one should I pick? And I don't know if I can make this any more clear, is that you don't have a choice. They are the same. They're the same underlying product. There's new features coming. There's lots of cool stuff coming. But we're not talking about, you know, a fork in the road here. We're just talking about the next generation of the product. So yes, there may be some features right now that would be in preview, but think of it as like any other preview program that's kind of Microsoft has. You can sign up, you can preview some of the new stuff, but you know, if there's a preview feature in Dynamics, that doesn't mean there's a different, you know, there's a different product there. It's just, you know, at the same time as there's some new features being included, especially kind of around the what used to be known as kind of the Portal Studio, or kind of the editor for Power Pages. But I mean, primarily it's a branding change. What's exciting about it for us, those of us who've been working with this for the last 10 plus years, is, and it may seem like a small change, but the removal of the apps word from it just means that it's, you know, it's not only part of the Power Platform, but it's one of the main components of the Power Platform. So that's super exciting. So I'm not sure if Nikita, you're able to jump in here now.
Hey, I'm in.
Perfect.
I missed the intros, didn't I?
You well, you go ahead and intro yourself. You tell the world your background and your whole life story, starting from the age of 6.5 months.
Perfect. Well, let me put that next, but yeah, picking up from what you said, I think, you know, Power Pages is on top of Portals. Portals customers need to not worry today. There's no features and changes happening to them, and in fact, if you're in the middle of a project or have a project that's about to begin, you should foremost continue on your existing plan. We can get granular to like what the differences would really be like for you. But Power Pages is really there to just excite and let more people into the platform, right? More people to start it, and frankly, more people to discover about it, right? To know that it exists, that it's there. There's so many times when we talk to customers and partners that, you know, are just so focused on Power Apps or Dynamics 365 that, you know, they didn't even know this option was there, just because of its, you know, frankly, there was no label and positioning, and you know, even finding slides sometimes to even describe what the Power Apps portal tech did was a challenge. So this kind of maturing and graduating into its own product has a tremendous amount of benefits for awareness that it exists, some interest in it. So hopefully more both, you know, professional teams and information workers or makers can start to discover that they themselves can also now build low-code web experiences. So I'm going to use the newest terminology, right? You're going to build sites and websites with Power Pages, and you can use that to build. And what are you doing is you're as a maker, pro team or a new information worker level maker, right, that has very little tech experience, can now start to build these low-code enterprise-grade website that's got all the features. The features of what you're building are the same, right? So whatever you're building today on your Power Apps portal project, or whatever you built 6 years ago, frankly, even in some cases, are the same. Now, what you had 6 years ago actually isn't as powerful as what you can do now, right? The lists and forms still look the same. But there's a lot of new features, right? Image and file column type is, one of them is there, one of them is nearly coming. We have new Portal Web API features, so you can, if you don't like our forms and grids, you can start to build your own. We have, Power Platform component support, so you can build your own custom field level controls. You can bring in your outbound controls. So all the pro dev features have matured and evolved quite a bit. So when before, 6 years ago, when we onboarded the product as Dynamics 365 portals or portal capability for Dynamics 365, you only had what we had in the system. Use some liquid code and maybe do some output rendering control of portals. Now we're at a place, I think this year wrapping up, where we've got a lot of pro dev tech capability for you to take those projects further before with good, meaningful things without having to do hacks in the UI. So I think that's important to understand that the platform itself, right? We haven't forgotten about Power Apps portals. We haven't forgotten about those customers. Their customers will continue to go forward. And what we are frankly introducing is a newer, faster way to get started with the front end and getting started experience. And all people will benefit from it as we head towards fall, towards the GA of Power Pages. So everybody will benefit from the quicker and faster maker experience, but your outcome for now is the same, right? You're going to build the same list, the same form. You got the same ability to access, same Power BI embedded, same Portal Web API for you as a pro developer to build your own custom controls and components. All of the fundamental, like what I would call runtime, portal runtime features are the same across what maybe on the surface looks like two different products. So that was a ton. I don't know if we got Donovan back as well, kind of just to start off with on that first topic. Hey, what's different?
Hey, yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm having some intermittent issues with internet. But yeah, exactly what Nikita had touched on. A lot of the newer capabilities that we have in Power Pages is to kind of help better the citizen developer enablement and also the pro dev developer enablement as well too. With Power Pages, you have what's called the Power Pages Studio. So underlying, you still have all of the features that existed in Portal Studio 1.0, but you also now have some newer capabilities so that end makers who don't come from a front end developer background can easily go in and build forms, go in and add button controls, go in and add different CSS and HTML blocks as well too. It just makes it overall easier for the new makers to do styling and layout and faster content editing as well too. On top of that, we have some more of the newer Pack CLI and VS Code extensions as well that also help those pro devs be able to do development faster and push those configurations back up to Dataverse from their local machine as well. We also have new templates that exist. You can start with the new blank templates. You can use some of the new solution templates that are also there as well. Understand that these are not dynamic templates. These are specifically Power Pages solution templates. And you can customize those templates as well too, using the new studio as well. And you can also render those. On top of that, there's some new capabilities and features that we've also from the Power Pages CAT team that we've built in for governance as well too. Nikita, did you want to? Would you like for me to expand upon that as well? Let me know, Nick and Nikita.
Let's see, Nicholas. Where do we want to go with this chat today?
Yeah, no, I think any of the stuff that's, I mean, part of what's been announced over the last little while was some of the things that makes it, kind of enterprise scale. I mean, I've always kind of felt it was there, but I mean, some of those enhancements, we've got the CDN support. I know that there's some looking at, how it works with some of the other Azure services like the, firewalls and that sort of thing. So any of those features that have been kind of announced or talked about over the last couple of weeks at Build, would be happy if you guys could kind of share with, kind of what you can share about that.
Yeah, so for the enterprise features, you know, we talked about with the content management delivery framework allowing you to now for existing customers, you do have to opt in, right? We don't just suddenly take your content and start, you know, seeding it across the world. That might not be what you'd want. So that's why a lot of those kind of new features are opt-in. The other thing to just remember, right? Power Pages or Dynamics 365 portals, if you built a portal and it's running today, your forms and grids don't just magically look different, or suddenly you have, you know, a new feature or functionality added to your experience. A lot of ways that I think we're keeping true. Now we reserve the right to probably change that in the future, like other, you know, Power Platform or Dynamics products do. So look at the release notes, release planner. So every year, April and October, right? A few months before that, we released the release plan. And the release plan, it's important to look through the notes and look through important changes and deprecations. So if there was ever a change or something, we're always going to give you a heads up and give you a semester to adjust. Right? So reserving the right for things changing potentially in future. Today, we've been really good at not changing things. What we mean by that is when header and footer output caching, Nick, you've done a great video on your channel before kind of describing the header and footer caching. When we introduced that feature, instead of just lighting it up and you as a maker or a person operating a site or in the middle of a project suddenly being confused why things don't work, maybe on the header and footer that you've intended to work. Those are the types of things we want to avoid. So every time we release a new feature, if we release a new feature to control, let's say Power App Component Framework or Portal Web API, those don't just light up. Now they're lit up for you as a maker, as a pro dev, as a project team to go and deliver that capability, but they're not just automatically turned on for you, right? You have to go and actually add them to your site. So far, everything's been very stable to where you haven't had to change probably a site you built 6 years ago. Now, as you need to add new features or phase 2 finally gets funded for it, hey, you got a lot more toys to play with because you've got Portal Web API, PCF controls. You can, you know, introduce newer, better capability with Power BI embedded. Maybe that wasn't there right as we begun 6 years ago. And if you have a globally distributed site, right? So you're still going to host a primary site, just like the primary Dataverse or Dynamics instance in your region today. So let's say you're in US or UK or Canada, right? You've deployed your Dataverse or you deploy your environment and you install the portal or Power Pages site that you've administered there. That site will be co-installed in that same region with you. And today it's been working out great for our customers. Now, some of them saying, hey, I got assets, like, you know, let's say files that I needed to maybe improve my performance even further. They're longer libraries. You know, a lot of my customers are fresh to the site, so they're having what's called a lot of cold loads, which means they've never been to my site. So when the web browser navigates, they have to download everything, every file, asset, an image, and as they then navigate to further pages, maybe that's eased up because the browsers do the right thing today by caching files like JavaScript libraries or CSS or images that you already browsed. If you noticed actually going through websites today, the browser is smart enough to know, hey, that image hasn't changed. I'm just going to pull up the one that I've cached locally. So to improve the performance of users who are distributed across the world, they're using potentially your site, content delivery network feature that we now support, which is what CDN stands for, allows you to, as you enable, you have to go and manually enable this capability. We will go and take the web files and actually go distribute them across our own CDN network that Microsoft operates for you. So there's no extra kind of monetary thing for you at this time. What that will then allow you to do is, if Nikita is accessing your site that you've hosted in, let's say, in US, interestingly, we kind of obscure that from you. There's two sides of the US where you could host. Most regions have a regional pair. As you're extracting it, you're just going to pick that up from that site. But let's say, you know, Nikita went on vacation and still going to be a regular user of the portal, and I go, you know, to UK or somewhere deep in Asia. It's a lot more important for me to grab, maybe if I'm using that, you know, machine for the first time to access your portal, to grab the copy of those web files that I have, like libraries or images or large CSS class assets, to grab them from the closest server, because that's just a static file. I can have that sitting closer to me. It will improve my perceived download experience. It actually fundamentally does, especially on that first code load of that file. So that's a great improvement of, seemingly small capability that continues to improve that enterprise grade, world scale grade website experiences you can build with Power Pages. I'll just keep calling it Power Pages moving forward, just for simplicity's sake, because they all mean the same thing at this point. So that's at least focusing on that CDN feature. And Nicholas, you brought up, and Donovan, a couple other new capabilities that are available within the Power Apps Portal's Power Pages roadmap. So one of them, looking at release plans for us, would be some up and coming features and functionality around admin and governance. There's some new things that we wanted to bring to your channel from Donovan and myself. Donovan's been working on adding more capabilities to all the admin and governance capabilities outside of the product itself. So we'll definitely want to take some time and chat about that. And probably both had mixed connectivity issues. We can introduce what our team is and what we do, and the kind of things to look forward to from us as allies to the community.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be great, because I think that there's a lot of people that may not even know, what a CAT team does. I know that, you're not the only CAT team that's out there, but yeah, I think it would be great to kind of share that, because it's a really cool role to have people who are, kind of more on the engineering side, so kind of more on the technical side, but really focused on the customer as well. So kind of that bridge between, sometimes you kind of have your sales and your engineering, and they're maybe not on the same page all the time, and would, probably has never happened, but maybe. And so it's great to have people with some technical ability, but working on the customer side. So yeah, if you can give some more background on what a CAT team is, what you guys do, and yeah, that'd be great.
All right, we can do the non-commercial way. So, it's a customer. So CAT, what is PowerCat? So PowerCat is a team that is within engineering at Microsoft. We're on the operational side of engineering. So, ourselves, that team doesn't, produce and operate, produce code or operate, let's say, the live sites, the actual running software that the business application group delivers, right? So the business application group delivers and services and operates our Power Platform products, Dynamics 365 products, and many other products within the Power Platform ecosystem. Within that team, there's an operational team of customer experience and customer and partner success. So basically an arm of engineering is funded to help, to help customers. Now, a lot of that time, because we're smaller than other, let's say we have actual support division of Microsoft, that is its own organization, actually. So that operates and has a ton of people. So when you go and file a support ticket worldwide in likely your language, there's somebody that can address a question about portals in your region. They're trained and they get information and they file tickets and help triage if, did you break something? Did we break something? Or was our service unavailable? Now, less and less of that lately, but as you update software, you can break stuff. So there could be bugs on our side, or there could just be something you did wrong, or maybe you didn't know you did it wrong, or somebody else in the project did it wrong. Support will help you find that. So that's Microsoft support. There's a ton of them worldwide. Now you can up level that and get Microsoft Premium support, and there's a bunch of options and names for all of those things. The best one of that, when you kind of basically, frankly, pay enough at enterprise level, you get is Microsoft Customer Engineers, right? They have a fantastic blog. There's almost 100 of those folks that are portal SMEs. Donovan and I conversate with them almost daily on a big Teams chat. They're the folks that you pay to co-sit with you, usually in that operate or ongoing phase, right? So those folks work for Microsoft, have the deep kind of line to engineering, can kind of skip support sometimes and work with engineering to find out a question or a challenge that you might be having around using a portal product. And they can deploy training and they can lead a portal one-day lab or go do an activate thing is what they call. So they'll do a lab and then they sit down and POC a use case with you virtually. maybe in person is opening up, right? So that's still paid, right? And then ultimately you have Microsoft as an SI, Microsoft Consulting Services. Those are folks you pay a ton of money for, just like you would with your partners, to come in and deliver, fully funded projects, really, usually, right? And then you have actual service providers and independent consultants that go out there and deliver that. And then final line is you going and delivering your own project. Now, who are these folks in engineering? And then there's sales and account teams, right? Those are folks that usually are funded by the fact that, frankly, you buy software and we pay them, so they go and sell software to you and service and answer questions about that and deal with contracts and all that stuff. There's also customer success on that side too, which means make sure that after you've purchased, you have the right means and paths to consume the thing you've purchased. So there's customer success managers at Microsoft. Their role is to make sure that as you have questions and you've purchased 100 units of something, you know how to consume that or advise you, and maybe you need less or more of that in the future, right? And we have those across Azure and other business technologies, but all their focus today is very likely in Dynamics for the most part, or Power Platform, especially for those customers who just bought a ton of Power Platform, right? Now, their strategy is really in change management and process. They're less technical. Then there's customer cloud solution architects. Now, there's cloud solution architects came from Azure. A lot of them are now focusing on Power Platform because Power Platform works with Azure and they work closely with a large enterprise accounts. So you have to be a really large organization usually to see a cloud solution architect trying to do something with Power Platform. Some of them know portals, more and more of them will. Now that we've announced Power Pages being the 5th product in Power Platform, everybody's going to get metrics and training. So we're going to enforce people know what you can do with Power Pages. People will eventually get all the right enforcing functions for them to get upskilled, which was a problem before with Power Apps portals just being a subset of tech. So you still haven't gotten to, well, what does the CAT team does and why does engineering have its own success people? We have our own success team because we kind of bridge a lot of these other workloads and do very specific things. We do the closest listening for engineering team. Now, because it's very few of us, in fact, for Power Pages, just me and Donovan today, we have to be very, very, very smart and effective with our time. So there's really 3 things we do. We work with the ultimate topmost customers, right? The customers that, frankly, just pay us the most and consume the most of the platform, and make sure that we understand how they're using the tech and really deeply listen to them. Now, that's one set of customers. The other set of customers we work with is we work through these scale programs and communities, right? It's coming to shows like this, going and speaking at conferences, talking to those customer engineers I've mentioned earlier, talking to customer success, and just listening to the community, right? Power Pages now even has its own community. So if you go to Power Pages and you go to Community tab, there's a community in the forums and galleries. Like we're going to be listening to those and many other communities. So we'll engage with very few customers, but they're very kind of largest customers, how they're using the tech and what feedback they have. Then we'll listen to the wider communities at scale, what feedback they have. Donovan and I wouldn't have these jobs. We didn't have the background and our own expertise and history with the tech to be able to kind of filter, right, some of the feedback and put a better lens on articulating some of that feedback, saying, well, it's just one person's experience, or maybe due to lack of training or what they want to do wasn't the right thing, or yeah, actually that's a systematic thing, and in fact, let me actually package that together into a better product perspective, and encourage our engineering counterparts now to say, hey, you know what, people are really struggling with, file management on forms and grids, and we give them the deeper explanations of use cases, and we bring in a little bit of mix of, hey, you know what, there's a maker we heard of, and all they wanted to do was just add files, and today is just so frustrating. And not only that, here's a XYZ massive customer that we work with, and they also struggle with file management. So everybody across, a maker at home trying to use this platform and struggling with a basic use case to a large enterprise customer, we can kind of tell that story and frankly be champions for the overall customer base and try to provide that influence to the product roadmap. So it's kind of like, Nicholas, you're a Microsoft valuable professional. There's a small cohort within the business app that are, have expertise in portals and provide that feedback for us, right, through your touch points. We're kind of like a small in-house version of, very tiny in-house version of that takes that feedback as well and provides an additional way to influence and improve the product. While we sit at that kind of intersection of a lot of these really exciting things, we get to extrapolate this learning into guidance, right? What you'd call patterns and practices, or what a lot of our content teams really hate to call best practice, because best practice sounds like the only one way. We'd like to just call it guidance, which is what is recommendation. So we're the folks that are going to be kind of in charge of coming up with a recommendation on, hey, what are some options for identity strategies? Why would you use one versus the other? And try to educate you in that next level stuff. So you'd see Donovan and myself really probably writing that 300-400 level content on identity strategy or project best practices or governance and administration topics. Those are the areas that we'd see potentially some gaps, and maybe I can give it to Donovan to kind of color in anything else I've missed around kind of our charter and team. But Power Pages customer advisory team sits in engineering and is funded by engineering to do deep, meaningful listening to our community, provide best practices so people at scale, so anybody, including you, literally you listening right now, can benefit from some of the output we have. We've been super quiet because we knew the name was coming, and we're like, we're not going to produce a bunch of content and then have to go rename it. We had that a little bit of a few months heads up on that, but you're about to see more and more content from us, and we'll paint in a little bit of tools and samples as we see fit around what the product or training or documentation is doing. We work really closely with the documentation team. We've actually published a number of docs into the product, and Power Pages is the first product that has documentation deeply embedded into the product. So you go to the Learn tab, you see links straight into documentation. And we literally see a ton of traffic from that, which is fantastic. So people can learn how to use it. So Donovan, let's maybe talk about anything else I've missed around our charter and experience, and maybe start off with one of the examples of what we work on, which is in our admin and governance area.
Awesome, thanks, Nikita. That was a great job explaining what we do. Specifically with that deep engagement and extracting patterns and practices from customers and being that bridge that there to connect that gap between even Microsoft internal field and our partners and customers in engineering as well. An example here is some of the toolings and things that we actually create on our team. I actually just placed a link inside of the chat for the entire audience. I believe you all should be able to access that, but this is a prime example of like what our team does, right? We work with some of our top customers, some of our customers in the government space as well too. And one of the biggest things that's always been kind of the gap there from an enterprise governance standpoint is the ability to manage and see portals and see this data and actually have telemetry on your identity and authorization and security configuration. So we heard a lot from a lot of our different top customers and partners that there was a need for this. So we have the ability to build these kind of toolings and also meet with our engineering counterparts and PM owners for these different features to kind of massage and influence the need for these things. So we built the governance capabilities into the COE starter kit for Power Pages because this was a need that was necessary. We heard from time and time again from partners and our top customers that we needed a governance strategy. So Nikita and myself decided to go in and actually architect and build these features. Engineering is completely aware of this, and they're now understanding the importance of actually eventually building some of these native capabilities into the platform themselves, so that eventually the ultimate goal for those who know about the COE starter kit, the ultimate goal of this is to bridge those feature gaps that may not have the time to be built into the product at the current time, but eventually we see the COE starter kit maybe being riding off into the sunset and later on in the future, right? So all of these features that we're building in here and that the goodness that you're getting, these capabilities come from engaging with our partners and customers and hearing from our customers as well on what they need. So we built these in, and then we're going to be actually building a lot more capabilities and toolings and putting more guidance and patterns and practices out there based off engaging with some of our top customers and partners, along with building out more samples and things. We know there's a huge knowledge gap, or there's a huge just gap in like a repository or a one-stop shop place where people can go and easily get the answers to what they need. So with collaboration with our community people as well within engineering and ourselves, we'll be building some of that content out and getting those good type of things that are really needed to help people adopt our platform out there. So that's a big part of what we do, and it's an amazing role to be in, because we like being able to engage with everyone and actually hear our customers' pain points, and ensuring that those pain points that you're having are heard by our engineering leaders and actually getting those capabilities built into the product.
Hey, Nick, should we get to a couple of the audience questions?
Yeah, I think so. So looking at the questions here, I'm gonna guess what the answer is gonna be to Oliver's question, since this is kind of more on the engineering side. But Nikita, did you want to announce any new licensing changes today?
Yeah, this will be the right place to disclose that. Thankfully, this is I'd be the last person that gets that information, but it wouldn't happen yet. Right? So the important thing to understand: Power Pages in preview, right? We've almost never released a product in preview that had licensing information early on, because I think right now is just still a lot of focus on preparing. So today, I'd see for the next foreseeable future, next few months, I don't see any licensing changes. Also important, like if you're renewing licensing now, like if you're an enterprise and the way you buy commercial software from Microsoft is on these contract terms. If your contract term is coming up, it literally doesn't matter what licensing couple months from now when we release Power Pages to GA will look like, because it's outside of your renewal cycle anyways. So you have to relicense to what is available today. And after it's licensed, then you can have a relicensing conversation as you need later. So license today for what licensing SKUs are available today, which is for like 99% of our customers, is still Power Apps licensing. I don't think you can renew to Dynamics 365 SKUs unless you're in some super long contract and you still have that one more cycle left. And I think even then, like a lot of the timeline dates are out. So everybody worldwide today would be licensing Power Apps page views and Power Apps log on capacity. When Power App Pages introduces new licensing, whatever licensing type it might be just reskewing. We don't know yet, literally. When that happens, you'll have that chance to relicense and update your licensing contract as you need. And that's really like a licensing question to you if that's the hesitation. So, Microsoft finishing its fiscal year, Power Pages is not live. It is a preview product. In our documentation, it says follow current licensing. So I understand it might be like fear of unknown and like, oh, what if there's a better deal around the corner? You'll be able to, license into new deal, probably at your anniversary anyways. Still ask your account licensing representatives if that's the concern, but if you need to license and scope things, you have to use current contracts today, and the people writing the contract have to use current SKUs today. They can't make up some custom stuff based on stuff that might be coming in the future. Just impossible to do so. So unfortunately, I don't have new licensing information, even which direction it's heading at this time to disclose. And even if I did, it really wouldn't be immediately actionable. I know we've heard licensing feedback that it's difficult to understand, it's difficult to predict. There's, depending on how you operate as a customer, the whole construct is very difficult to operate in. All of that feedback's been heard. Trust me, it's the most painful part of really exciting conversations about tech is the licensing part.
So it's not going to be free. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's going to be free.
No.
I think
if only.
included by existing use rights, where if you already have Power Apps licenses as users, like today, your internal use rights for portals are included, right? So, but at that point, burying a few use cases, I won't get into it here, you could build a canvas or a model-driven app or a portal. In many cases, would probably lose out. But in certain use cases, actually a lot of a benefit. So in that sense, there was included, like covered already by a stronger license elsewhere use case, but Power Pages being free, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it's consumption based. There's Azure Web Services behind these things. We operate the cache stack, and there's infrastructure work here to operate this thing. It wouldn't be free. Yeah. How do you license a fully standalone Power Pages product? Because we're saying that it's its own product, right? That I think would be the most interesting. Like, I'm actually really looking forward to hearing how that could work. Right? How do you do that? You still need to get Dataverse. What do you do about makers and internal users? Like I'm just as curious as you are, to be honest.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for handling licensing questions are always fun. So thanks for being game to do that. Next question we got here from Franco is basically what he's talking about is that they have the need to, when a file is uploaded via the portal, they need to do essentially some antivirus measures on that file. So it looks like they've got a solution already kind of in place with Cloud Immersive, with Power Automate, but it does kind of, excuse me, it does kind of involve some client-side code, which, you know, in theory could be disabled, and we all know that kind of client-side code is not the place to implement security measures. So now that we've got, you know, we've got the file and image support, file and image columns that, you know, the support for that's coming in portals. Any plan to add any sort of antivirus measures to those? Now, my guess is that, you know, that's probably more of a Dataverse question than a portal question. I don't know if the portal would implement anything like that, but is that something? Ever see any solutions like that in your kind of reviewing of customers, Nikita or Donovan, where kind of antivirus was a big concern for any files being uploaded via a portal?
I'll answer the roadmap inquest, and then I'll pass it to Donovan on implementation options. You know, it's not in platform today. We hear it, the Dataverse platform hears it. So if Dataverse will service something, we'll find something that we'll definitely bring it up, but it's not on a release plan. So let me actually just do one thing for sure. So I can't announce anything, just saving some questions that hasn't been announced. So I'll actually kill a little bit of the hype here. We can talk about what was announced in the build, and we can talk about what I've just put in the link here, which is probably actually things that even I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like we totally have this this extra thing here that was on a release plan that I just forgot about because it wasn't top of mind. And we should, since the focus is on roadmap, we should talk about this page I just pasted, which is the release plan for this semester, and talk about what's coming there, because there's a couple cool nuggets there. But specific to antivirus search as part of the platform stack today, neither Dataverse nor us at this point declared that we have a deliberate roadmap or like a release plan of shipping it. I'm a huge champion for it because I hear that all the time, and the workarounds are not fun.
Yeah,
Client-side version of that, I'd be curious to hear about that. But let me pass it to Donovan, what he's heard folks do. I've heard folks do some other things that aren't just as fun. Go ahead, Donovan.
Yeah, so I'll talk on it a bit more. And some of these questions we definitely can do a follow-up on to do a deeper dive, because surrounding the antivirus question, there's been many different implementation workarounds that are used for that. This comes up quite often, specifically in the federal gov space. And yeah, I can get back to you on that. I know Delete has some messaging surrounding that as well too. And we do have customer evidence, but like Nikita said, from a roadmap standpoint, we just don't have the necessary insights into that. But we can discuss this a bit further. So I know I've had some exchanges with Franco before, so Franco, feel free to follow back up with me via LinkedIn, or I can shoot you my email as well, and we can discuss that more. And let's take a look at some of the other questions. I'm having a hard time seeing.
So Dowd, before we go to the next question, holistically, how the terrible, like, let's get around this answer that I've been giving people, and I feel dirty giving it, is when you upload a virus to us, we don't care. When you download it, you probably do care. Do you have end user protection for your employees when they download the file? Right? So if your organization does, you like prioritizing worrying about a virus getting uploaded by an external person and downloaded by your person only is a problem for people that have like zero virus protection, right? So the actual more stressful one for organizations is, well, I had one user upload a file, like we know our employees, right, within our organization have virus protection, so we feel safe. None of it impacts our running service because like we just store the binary, we never unpack it anyways. So we literally don't care if there's like a nuke sitting there, right, in that file. It's that end user of yours downloading that file and then saying you infected my machine is probably the PR thing that people are uncomfortable with. So internally, you getting infected by it, like or something like that with a virus, I get it. Like people, and then if you get to government or enterprise, it's just a required RFP checkbox. Super difficult to handle. All the workarounds are asynchronous. There's no synchronous version of this tech that will let you stop a file that isn't there from like for the user be like, oh, this is infected, re-upload. I have yet to see somebody implement something that deep. So it always has to be, you've uploaded, you're gonna use something else that does AV protection, check on it, and then you need some kind of communication back to the user that says, hey, by the way, remember you've uploaded that document or that contract. Turns out you need to re-upload it again. So you almost need to like even afford a UX messaging comms model for that file being like off, deleted, and then telling somebody to go and re-upload that file or letting them know that they've, sent the file that's there. Like all those are difficult human business processes today. So workarounds are nasty, right? And they require all these other things to be thought about. Continue to provide feedback is definitely here, but.
Great. Yeah. The other question I'm seeing here is just about support for Bing Webmaster tools. So I'll be the first to admit that we don't get the Bing Webmaster tools question a lot. So is that something that Donovan or Nikita that you've seen kind of implemented on your sites, is just adding the Bing Webmaster tools?
So any of the implementations that I've been in, I have not, but I'm sure there may be some customers that have implemented something similar. What about you, Nikita?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it seems odd to me that because basically the question mentions that it will crawl the kind of the powerappsportals.com domain, but won't crawl the custom domain. So that sounds that seems odd to me. I mean, it should just be a site is a site is a site. So and typically with these Webmaster tools, it's about just kind of dropping, whether it's validating the domain and then kind of dropping a little JavaScript snippet in there, which you could use the tracking code snippet for. So that's an odd one. I'm not sure why Bing would refuse to index or crawl the custom domain when they have no problems with the main domain. So that one I'm not sure about. The other, we've only got a few minutes here, but the other question to me, kind of one of the really exciting things that are coming out of the announcement with Power Pages is just kind of the idea around templates. So I'm just wondering if Nikita or Donovan, you can just quickly speak to, there's a handful of, there's a few templates that are in there right now. What do you know about in terms of like, is that something that we think that they're going to kind of, it's going to be a constant evolving, like I kind of look at it as, is it like the portal checker where it's like every release, it's like, oh, here's a new template, here's some new rules in the portal checker. So have you kind of played with those templates, and what have you kind of heard in terms of like, is that going to be a focus to kind of building out more of those kind of industry specific or vertical specific solutions that exist in those templates?
Yeah, so I can elaborate on that a bit. So I've actually been spending quite a bit of time with the PMs on the template team. And what's great about Nikita and I's job is that we have the ability to really put our ear to the ground and really hear some of the needs of our top customers, and hear also from our internal field and of course external partners as well. What are some of those needs? So they are working on launching a bunch of new templates. We're in fact actually influencing part of what some of those templates that should be released next. So yeah, there will be a lot of new industry and vertical templates released, but it's really important that we get to talk to our customers to kind of get that feedback to the core product team who owns the templates as well, because that kind of helps shape what should happen next, or what should be prioritized or deprioritized as well. So yeah, we've played around with the templates. We spent quite a bit of time kind of doing some of the debugging, some of the testing, providing feedback, and even trying to maybe like show them why this template should be built a different way based off of our experience in implementation and based off of customer feedback as well. But yeah, definitely the templates, I see the future of templates overall being a great thing. One thing that we have been talking as well about, and something that will be coming up, is the ability for end users to eventually possibly to be able to submit templates as well. I mean, a lot of the other big CMS platforms out there also kind of encourage like partners to be able to publish their templates out there for others to be able to consume and use too. So that's definitely something that's on the roadmap.
Yeah, one thing that I'm kind of curious to see is how this is going to tie in with the kind of the existing, the quote unquote templates that we had before, the which are all kind of tied to Dynamics 365. So I'm kind of curious how that's all going to kind of come together, and when Power Pages is out of preview, and that's the one, like, how am I going to turn on a customer self-service? How am I going to turn on some of those kind of Dynamics templates? So whether there'll be the opportunity to kind of merge all those together, or how that's going to work. So I'm curious as to see how that will all play out.
Yeah, the way to think about it, Nicholas, is that these templates are first-party templates. Is really what to like frankly call them, right? So
Yep.
so Dynamics 365, the templates available for environments that have Dynamics 365 installed, there we go, right, will be available in the new like Studio, right? So when you go create new environment, today you can't create an environment with the portal with the customer service template, for example. So I think that'll probably stay the case. But when you go to the that environment creation experience, right, when you get to create a site, when you select an environment that has Dynamics, we do imagine that the Dynamics templates will be surfaced as an options for you. As well as, like, the most importantly, as we reach towards GA this fall, you'll be able to go and edit your existing Power Apps or existing Dynamics experiences within the new Power Pages Studio. So as those things can kind of come together, I don't know, but I hope we get to see some of that over the summer as we incrementally now move towards GA. That will just be unique. Like, you wouldn't have to go through a different entry point to go and procure those sites. So, because we don't want to keep having all of these like, it's all technical debt for us to have a bunch of stuff that does about the same deployment process everywhere else. We'll concentrate all of that. So it's one place for you, and frankly, one place for us to manage and debug and keep bug free, then in like 3 different places.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. All right. We are kind of at time here. I just want to thank Nikita and Donovan for joining us today, for sharing what they know about where we're going. It's very exciting times for those of us who have been in this space for 10 years. It's really exciting to see where we've gone from this kind of little niche product that I'm not sure how many people knew about, and now it's, you know, now we're a main player in the Power Platform, so that's really exciting. Do want to say that our call next month will be on July 28th at a kind of regular time, so back to kind of the Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. We will have another guest with us next month. We've got Arpit Srivastava. He's based in India, and he's got some he's built some excellent tools for VS Code. So he's going to be demonstrating some of the tools that he's built for VS Code. And I know he's kind of got some DevOps stuff as well. So I'm just kind of going through some of those different tools that he's got built. So that's the plan for next month. So mark your calendars for that. As always, thanks to Jason and the MS Dynamics World team. Anything else that anyone wants to mention before we let these people get back to their day jobs? All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and hope to see you next month.
Thanks, everyone. We will end it there. Thank you very much, Donovan and Nikita. Really appreciate you joining.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.